Today we're going to be reviewing some quiz review examples from lessons 1-5 through 1-8 to prepare you for your quiz on Wednesday. You're going to be finding the solution set of 2 times x minus 1 equals 8 if the replacement set is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Try to do this example first now. I will explain it in 1 second. To be able to find the solution set of this problem with the replacement set 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, I would need to plug in each value in the replacement set for x to see if one side of the equation is the same number and equal to the other side, which would be 8. I start with 1. And I do order of operations first, so 1 minus 1 in parentheses, which is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, so 0 does not equal 8, so the number 1 is not a solution. I continue to do this for each number after that. What I should find is that the number 5 works as a solution, and I will show you. So in parentheses, 5 minus 1 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So 8 equals 8. And therefore, the number 5 is my answer. This next example, you are to solve for A. So you're following order of operations. You want to do the numerator and everything involved in the numerator first, then the denominator, everything involved in the denominator next, and then when you get just one number for your numerator and one number for your denominator, your final step for this type of problem would be to divide. So following order of operations, 14 minus 1 is what I would do first. I would get 13, and then 4 times 13. Which is 52. Then I would work on the denominator. 3 times 6 would be 18. 18 minus 5 would be 13. So my final answer is 52 divided by 13, which is 4. The next question, they've given you a relation, which is a set of ordered pairs, and they would like you to express the relation as a mapping and then state the domain and range. So a mapping diagram has 2 ovals, an x-coordinate oval and a y-coordinate oval. When you list the x-coordinates, you want to list them only one for each number. If there's any repeats, you only list it once. So let's say the left side is your x, the right side is your y. So all the x-coordinates I'm going to list on the x side. There is no repeats, so I'm going to write all 4 numbers. And then the y side, you have your y-coordinates. And again, there's no repeats, so I'm listing all 4 y-coordinates. And then I would connect them, the x-coordinate with the y-coordinate that goes with it, by an arrow. And then my domain and range, my domain is the set of x values, so I would list those. And again, you don't have to list repeats. And then my range is a set of y values, so I would list those. And then I would be done. For this table, we're going to look and see whether this relation is a function. The shortcut here would be to look at the x values, and if any x values repeat, then it would not be a function. So we have a 4, we have an 8, and we have a -2. Since none of those numbers repeat, this would be, yes, a function. So even though the y values, there is a repeat, that does not determine whether the relation is a function or not. For the next example, they give you a function, g of x equals x squared minus 2x plus 1, where you're asked to find g of -3. All this means is we're going to take the -3 and plug it in for the x, where it says x squared. And then we're also going to plug in the -3 for the x next to the 2. And if we follow order of operations here, we're going to do exponents first, -3 times -3, which is 9. Then we're going to do multiplication next, which would be 2 times -3, which is -6. And we're subtracting -6. So that would be ending up being a plus. So then we would go from left to right, since we only have addition left over, and 9 plus 6 plus 1 would give me 16. Here's an example of a word problem that you need to write and solve an equation from. So whenever you're doing a word problem, you always want to look for what you don't know and assign a variable to it. So it says Luke is typing an average of 20 words per minute. Write and solve an equation to find the time it will take him to type 100 words. So for finding the time, that means the per minute part. The minutes we don't know. So we're going to put that as m. So if he's typing 20 words per minute, I would need to do 20 times m. And if we're going to find how many minutes it'll take for him to type 20 words per minute, to type 100 words, we would need to put that equal to 100. And to solve 20m equals 100, we would need to divide both sides by 20, because 20m means 20 times m, so to cancel out the 20, we would need to do the opposite operation to both sides, which is divide by 20. So it would take him 5 minutes to type 100 words. For this question, it says, which represents for every hour that Asa works, he earns $6.50. Well, you're looking for the sign that you would use, or the operation in this case, whether it would be multiplication, addition, subtraction, or division. Since we see a keyword here that says for every hour, that phrase, the word for, is kind of like per or each, so all of those words mean multiplication. So we want to pick the one that has multiplication here, which would have to be the first function. Okay, for this graph you want to determine first whether it's linear or non-linear, so you would look to see if it's a curved line or a straight line. If it's a curved line, then it would be non-linear. If it's a straight line, then it's linear. So in this case, it's non-linear, and it's a curved line. Then we're going to estimate and interpret the intercepts. So the intercepts, remember, are where the line crosses either the x-axis, which would be the x-intercept, or the y-axis, which would be the y-intercept. In this case, it looks like it only crosses the y-axis, and there is no x-intercept. So we have a y-intercept, which it crosses at about here, which looks like, based on the scale, you have 400 is the first line, then 800, then 1200, then 1600, and so on. So it's in between 0 and the first line, so I would say maybe 100 or 200. If we said it's 100, that would mean that the website had 100 hits before the time began, before they started keeping track. So you would write the website had 100 hits. And this would be just in the beginning. And your y-intercept is 100, or about 100. And that concludes the quiz review video.